All right, today's lesson is the percentage unit lesson 7, talking about markup, tax, gratuity, and commission. Gratuity is the same as tip. The homework to go through this is page 13 to 15. All right, we're going to take a look at this problem. This is a warm-up. I want you to pause the video and try this problem. All right, it says the population of a town increased from 8,500 in 2005 to 10,200 in 2010. If it continues to increase at the same rate, what will be the best estimate of the population in the town in 2015? We'll move this. Should have ended up with answer C, but let's look at how we're going to work that out. All right, now, I think a lot of people tend to just find the difference between the two and then add that amount, and you end up with, if you do that, $1,700, and then if you add that, you end up with B. That is not the way you do it. You need to find the rate of increase. How do we find the rate of change? Well, don't we set up a percent proportion? So, percent out of 100 equals the part is the difference. So, 10,200 minus 8,500 divided by the original, 8,500. When you do that work, you end up with 20% increase. Okay, so it was a 20% increase over those 5 years. Well, we're going another 5 years. So if we do a 20% increase, we're going to do 10,200 times 0.2 is 2,040 increase. And if you add these two, you end up with C. The key here is you've got to find the percent of increase. You can't just find the amount of increase because we're looking at the rate. All right, we're not going to do this day. We'll do it another day. All right, you should be on page 21 in your notes. Now, we've already done sales tax. Today we're going to look at it in a slightly different way. And let me explain what a markup is. If you own a store, like say you own Dick's Sporting Goods, you go to Nike and you buy socks from Nike. And Nike might sell you those socks for $5 a pair. Then what you do is we call it a markup. You mark those socks up and sell them to your customers at Dick's for, let's say, $15. So you bought them for $10, you're selling them for $15, that's a $10 markup. So markup makes something cost more. So it's similar to tax, but not exactly. Because tax goes towards things, but it's the same concept. It makes it cost more. Now, we've been doing tax all along. We're going to do it by two methods. Sales tax, it says Drew wants to buy exercise equipment that costs $140, and the sales tax rate is 5.75. What is the total cost? Method 1 is what we have been doing all year. So, if it costs us $140 times, move the decimal 2 places on 0.0575. Because for a percentage decimal, you move it 2 places. So 5.75% of 140 multiplied, you get 805. That's the tax. Tax makes it cost more, so I'm going to take 140, add the 805, and get 148.05. That's my total cost. And we have been doing that all unit long. Now, we're going to do this a slightly different way. Our equipment costs $140, and our sales tax rate is 5.75%. Now, think of this. If I'm paying for this $140 and I'm paying for 5.75% tax, aren't I paying 100% of this and 5.75%? So 100% plus 5.75%. We are actually paying 105.75%. punch that into your calculator, I promise you, you are going to get 148.05. That's your total cost. All in one step. We didn't bind the tax, we just went right to the total. Now, the key is, if somebody is asking you, what is the tax? You need to do it by method 1. If somebody says asking you for the total, you could choose to do method 2. So it depends on what they're asking. All right, let's do this. What is the total cost of a sweatshirt if the regular price is $42 and the sales tax rate is 5.5%? First off, I'm going to write 5.5% as 5.5%. Let's do this by method 2. So we're going to pay 100% of this plus 5.5% of that. So we're really paying 105.5%. Move the decimal to the left. I'm going to do 42 times 1.055. And when you punch that into your calculator, you're going to get $44.31. $44.31, that's your total cost. Now, if you prefer, you could multiply by 0.055 and then add the tax to the cost. All right. Tips. That's what you give somebody who is giving you any kind of service. Like if somebody cuts your hair, you give them a tip. If you go out to a restaurant, you give them a tip. If somebody carries your luggage in, you give them a tip. Markup, we already talked about. Markup is what a store does when they buy something from a dealer and they mark it up and then they sell it to you at the selling price. All right. A customer wants to tip 15% on a restaurant bill that is $35. What will the total bill be? Okay, we're going to do this by 2 methods. So, 15% of 35. If I multiply, I get $5.25. That's my tip. My total would be 35 plus 5.25 gives you 40.25. That is my total with tip. Now, if I want to do that by method 2, I'm paying 100% of the bill plus 15% tip is 115%. If I change that to a decimal, it's 1.15. So 35 times 1.15 goes directly to 40.25. That's your total with tip. Now, of course, if you want to know what the tip is, you're going to need to use method 1. But if you're just going to give them the whole total, then you can go with method 2. Let's do this one. A haircut costs $20. Sales tax is 4.75. Is $25 sufficient to cover the haircut with the tax and the tip? Now, first off, you don't pay tax on the tip. So, I'm going to calculate all these things separately. So, $20 times, I use this 2 places here, 0.0475 gives me, sorry, I got to grab the calculator here. 95 cents is my tax. Okay. But if I want to do my tip, $20 times 0.15 gives me a $3 tip. So, I'm going to pay $20 for the haircut plus $3 tip plus 95 cents tax is $23.95. So, is 25 sufficient? Yes. We will have 25 minus 23.95, $1.05. Okay. When you do this problem, make sure, or a problem like this, you are figuring out tax and tip separately. A store pays $56 for a GPS navigation system. The markup is 25%. Find the selling price. So I'm going to do it by 2 methods. method 1 and method 2. You can choose. Method 1, let's find the markup. So 56 times 0.25 is $14. That is called the markup. That's the markup. The selling price. Take your 56, add the markup, and you get $70. That is the selling price. Now, if you want to go directly to the selling price, aren't we going to pay 100% of this and 25%? So we're paying 125%. Change that to decimal, 1.25, 56 times 1.25 takes you directly to the selling price. Now, again, if I ask you for the selling price, you can use method 2 or method 1. But if I ask you to find the markup, you need to use